think we're live.
It's staring up into space.
Yeah, sorry about that. Where's our chat? There we are. Sorry, we were a little late.
And sorry, I'm still getting adjusted with my camera. My goodness.
Yeah. Okay.
We are not in a cave this week.
Yeah.
A week ago today, we were indeed in a cave.
Oh. Does that mean...
this isn't on. Is this back? Oh, this is
backwards.
It is
backwards.
I just put it... No, the little light is on, and that's what it's supposed to be, yeah?
Yeah. Hold on a sec. Sound. Yeah. And there you can hear our roaring air conditioner just in time.
Here we go. Was it really that I had it backwards? Did that make the difference?
Yeah.
We shouldn't lay this on the edge of the... Do you see what the basket is doing?
Yeah, but there's nothing that can be done. It's okay.
But there's a whole little dent. And what if that's what is making people hear us weirdly when it's turned?
Oh, no. This is just actually... This is a separate piece that I bought. That's the reason it's orange, that you just put on top. Okay. You don't even need that. This is...
Okay.
To like prevent popping for the microphone.
Yeah, it's keep your stuff nice.
But yeah, also the reason that it would sound different just because it was turned around is because this is a Yeti Blue mic. The settings on the back can actually change where it expects noise to come from.
Oh.
So I have it set to expect noise to come from here.
Why? Just kidding.
Anyway, so first, absolutely where we must start is I sincerely apologize to everybody who tuned in at this time last week, only to find that we weren't here. In fact, I went and checked, and there was an active chat at that time.
Right. Yeah.
That is...
Is this okay picture to share if I put
Absolutely.
it? Okay.
Yeah, that was completely my fault. And I want to explain why. For patrons, you will have noted that the poll that we had was set up for 2 weeks. That is, it didn't actually end until 1:45 today, which is what it was supposed to do. But I forgot to change the settings on YouTube and also the settings on Discord. And so consequently, it alerted everybody that we were supposed to be going live at this time last week. Very, very sorry about that. That was completely my fault because I'm the one that takes care of that back end stuff. Jessie and I had a planned trip to Missouri to visit her family and also to, take in a cave and get up close and personal with some actual live cows, which was
put that in there too.
One of the greatest moments of my entire life. And it's a strange thing because I'm a person that doesn't really like getting dirty,
Which is why I took that one picture with your hands all dirty, because I was like, no one's ever going to believe me that David's hands were dirty that day.
Yeah. And so, you get off of a farm, with animals on it. Yeah, you're pretty filthy afterwards, but it was so worth it. Got to pet them and give them a hug and scratch their bellies and their chins. It was really wonderful.
Okay, so David, if you scroll down to the coordination section, you can show pictures to them. So that way, because if you're not on our Discord, you won't have seen pictures or evidence. There we go. There's the cave.
So yeah, this is a cave, and we are really there, despite the fact that it looks like we've been photoshopped in.
Absolutely photoshopped, because the way the light hit you.
Yeah, it's like there's
a little line of light all the way around David in particular. That it literally looks like I photoshopped him in, but we are standing there
they
in
have,
real life.
Because it's a cave, of course. Without any unnatural light, it is complete darkness. So they have lights set up in various places, and it just happens to look like that. So this was Merrimack Caverns.
Merrimack Caverns.
And indeed, this is actually the second cave I've been to. The first cave was Carlsbad Caverns up in Northern California. Nowhere near Carlsbad, California in Southern California. I don't know.
Nice.
Don't know why. Anyway, and so and that's me in Meridian. And then here I am petting a cow named Chico, who is just such a lovely cow. All six of the cows I met were lovely cows, but I really enjoyed spending time with Chico. Ah, what a good cow.
I think they think we're making it up now that I shared that cave photo because it really does look like your Photoshop. So now they don't think we were actually in a cave.
Are there any other cave photos?
I mean, there are, but like not of. I don't think there were good ones of like us to show that we were in it. I have just other photos. Oh, wait, this one. No, the light's hitting Meridian there too. So, look, the lights around all of it. Like it just looks like every time we took a picture, the camera was like so hardcore focusing on us.
Hold on a sec. Let me.
That it really looks like all of them could be photoshopped.
Let me see if I've got one, because I took a whole bunch of photos. Most of my photos are actually just of the cave itself, including this one. I mean, this really is, in my opinion, the absolute like stunner, and it's a wonderful reveal. They have this lake inside that looks like it's what do you call it? I forgot to do this.
So I'm not sure people saw that on your phone, but
Yeah, probably not.
I will say, with the, sorry, I've got three things going in my head at once. One, Danielle made an excellent pun. Chico became Chicao.
Huh?
That was excellent. And two, people are commenting on the size of this cow, and for good reason. This was a very large cow. And larger, if you are used to cattle, you know that not all cows get this big, but that there are some cows that are bred to be larger and to live shorter lives. And so they are bred in ways that make them grow faster. Pigs are the same. They're bred to make them grow faster. So effectively, and I'm so sorry for any sensitive ears, turn your ears off if you're sensitive to animals and dietary inclusions of animals. But they are bred so they get larger faster, so they can be sent to a slaughterhouse at a younger age. And they don't intend on those animals living past that young age. These particular cows were rescued by the Gentle Barn, and the Gentle Barn rescues animals from all sorts of backgrounds. And these cows were the original cows that started the Gentle Barn in Missouri.
Oh yeah,
were
they have a heck of a story.
The St. Louis Six, and they got that name because they were six cows who were at a slaughterhouse. They escaped the slaughterhouse in St. Louis and started roaming the streets. And so when they finally tracked all six cows down and got them together, the public was like, well, we now love these cows and you have to like save them. You can't send them back. And so these people stepped up and said, yeah, we'll save them. We'll rescue them. And they actually started there are 3 Gentle Barn locations in the United States. The Missouri one was started because of the St. Louis Six, and they wanted to keep, all those cows together. And so indeed, they were bred to grow very large, very fast. That growth didn't stop right away. They kept growing. And now they are at their full maximum size, but they are very, very large, very, very friendly, very cuddly, very calm. They love the pets and the visitors, and David loves them. And so anyway, these were those cows. And the other cow that they have on the barn in that farm area is actually kept in a completely different area because it's a regular size cow.
Yeah.
And she is so much smaller than these cows that the fear is that, as cows interact, they kind of butt heads and do things like that to play. They were really worried about this other cow because she's so much smaller that if these cows tried to play with her, They could very accidentally hurt her, not for any malicious reason, but just because they're playing. And so, so these are larger than life kind of cows. I will insert this photo, but I feel they'll think this is even faker with the color of the lights. Let's see what happens in chat when they get to see this photo.
Here's a really nice
There we
photo of the back of you and Meridian walking, and also a photo with you like blurred. It's kind of funny.
I do like though.
Look at this.
I don't know what happened there. I do like though that people are like, wow, that's a very intricate made up story to explain why I got the proportions wrong as I photoshopped you in with a cow.
Huh. So the photo is not showing up on my thing.
Oh, maybe because I had it too close. Let me get off of it first.
Yeah.
Now go down and no. Just a second, I'm looking for my cursor. Let me X out there. Okay. And let me try to paste it there. It still wants to paste exactly where I don't want it to paste. I don't know, babe. Maybe it didn't.
Oh, and actually, yeah, you took these photos, so
It's like not acting like it's part of the page.
you
Yeah, I was gonna try to do that, but I'm trying to get it so you can see this photo.
There we go. Good. See, that looks like it. I mean, they put the lights in there like that, the different color lights to kind of make it look cool. But we look like we're there, I think.
This is like literally we just keep going on and on just to prove that yes, we were indeed there. I'm trying to find the picture you had. I have so many more pictures of you and that cow.
Yeah.
Which one did you like?
That was a very good cow. Oh, this one's a nice one of me. I think
Is it this one?
I like any of them. I think it's going to be good enough to show the difference in size. Like,
okay. Well, you are so particular. You want to make sure it's a good picture.
This one I think is good.
Okay. Welcome to LangTime Studio, where we try to find good pictures of David and a cow.
Are you copying on your phone and pasting it there?
Yeah.
Gosh, it's like the future. I love it.
Okay, try it again. See if it's there.
It's taking its time. Maybe it has to download.
I swear last time it worked much faster. Okay, I can take care of... I'm going to take care of that photo. I'm going to try to get rid of photos to make it... What happened there? This time it, I swear it thinks that one's... If you scroll down, what's going on? There
we go.
There's David and a normal cow.
And just to reemphasize, as Jesse explained, this cow is kept in a separate place. So no, there's not a picture of the cows next to each other. But at least, there's David for scale. In this pasture, and actually there were two reasons. One, it was the fact that the other cows were larger, male, and more aggressive in their play. But the other is that they were on kind of a slope. And this cow is older and has some hip problems. So the enclosure that she's in is completely flat. The other one, it would be harder for her to get up and down. So in this pasture, there were also chickens and turkeys, smaller pigs, and a goat named Baron von Goat, which was just incredible. Mm-hmm. And then a couple of other goats, right? There was more than just the one goat, as I recall.
And no, we do not have a picture next to David and a large cow standing because they didn't get up. Only one of them got up before we left, and that was when we were already on the way out. And they kind of stood up and followed a little bit behind us, but we didn't go back to get a picture with the standing cow.
Yeah, they were enjoying their lounge, and we were all about that. It was wonderful to see them relaxing and happy. Just delightful. Anyway, All right, so yeah, now we've shared ours, so we're going to turn it over to chat. Just share your vacation photos and feel free to comment.
Indeed, this is the slideshow. We haven't even started. We haven't even gotten into the pictures of Meridian feeding chickens. We haven't gotten into the dog pictures. There are so many more that we have photos of.
I have always, like my entire life, I have always wanted to pet a cow. This was really just a dream come true. It was so wonderful. They're just such a delight. Anyway, I really recommend it. Incidentally, if you're in the United States, there's a gentle barn here actually in Southern California, of all places.
In Santa Clarita.
Yeah, one that's about an hour or so drive from St. Louis in Missouri, and another one that's in Tennessee. I don't remember which city in Tennessee.
I don't know.
But they of course all have different
Christiana.
animals. Which is near which of the big four cities in Tennessee?
See if it's like the other ones. Not super near anything. Murfreesboro.
Keep going. Nashville.
So it's
Looks like it's about an hour and 20 minutes outside of Nashville to the southeast. So anyway, so yeah, if you get a chance, go on by. They of course, in addition to selling merchandise, they operate on donations, so that they can keep doing their thing and giving cows a nice, safe, and happy place to stay.
well, cows, goats, pigs.
Cows, goats, pigs.
Lots of birds. There were chickens, guinea fowl.
Those pigs like belly scritches too. That was nice. Oh, and horses and donkeys. Oh,
All sorts of animals. Okay.
Yeah.
But speaking of animals, we're working on a beaver language. I'm going to go ahead and take this photo out,
Sure.
David. We're done with it. And I've got to fix. I had to insert a page break because it was being weird.
the Europeans are being European in chat.
There we go. All right. So we've got that fixed. About how an hour and 20 minutes is nearby. And so, yes, but that was why we missed last week. So long story short, we thought we had changed everything. There were apparently just a couple things we didn't change. And I guess we hadn't announced that we would not be there.
Again, my bad.
So that was long story short. That's why. And yeah, perfect. You knew where I was going with that.
All right.
Patrick, that's perfect. Americans think 100 years is a long time. Europeans think 100 miles is a long distance. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so our poll this time was, again, it was something that I'm never excited about. I'm never excited about coordination. I had 2 coordination ideas in my time as a conlinger. One of them was for Dothraki. And I thought, this is really neat. Another one was for High Valyrian. And I thought that was pretty neat. And that was it. I was tapped out.
And those are for like very early languages, David.
Yeah, I peaked early. After that, I was like, just create a word that means and. Like, it's never something that excites me, and so I often leave it aside, kind of like number systems.
Well, it's a good thing you married me.
Yeah, I know. Jesse is always reminding me. In fact, somebody could go through past live streams and do a whole series of clips where it's just Jesse saying, "Ooh, and coordination." It's like, "Oh, and we could do coordination." Well, we have coordination to do, and it's just like you could probably have a million of these. And my reaction afterward being like,
You're welcome.
yeah. Anyway, but we came up with 3 suggestions, and when I say we, I mean Jesse. And I thought they were real corkers. Just wonderful ideas. And so I want to go over them and discuss them. So coordination ended up getting separated into nominal and sentential coordination. And so bear that in mind. I think we're just looking at nominal coordination here.
Yes, because
Yeah.
I wanted to leave it open to interpretation whether we did have a completely different strategy for sentential, but I wanted to go into it saying we're focusing on nominal coordination here. If we extend its use as a grammaticalization strategy, we can, and we're done with clausical coordination. But I do have some ideas for other coordinators. But go on.
Yeah. So we had 3 ideas, and unlike with the orthography poll, where 2 of them were good and 1 of them was bad, all 3 of these were good. So I would have been happy with any one.
I have a favorite, and I haven't looked, so I don't know if it made it.
So this first one was a special one for me because when Jesse explained it, I didn't get it at all. And then, like, once she explained fully how it worked, I was like, now I get it, and it's brilliant. So the idea was that we would have a word like "and" in between 2 nouns. So noun and noun. Which sounds just like English, but it's and so that part is not unfamiliar. It's how we get it that is so unique. She wanted to use the word mud, which I didn't get, but then she was explaining that these beavers are builders, and just like when you build stuff, where you have the strong building block, the mud that holds it, and then the other piece of wood, that's the thing that glues the sticks together. And so the word mud is being used metaphorically to glue the nouns of the noun coordination phrase together. That, I thought, was brilliant. Anyway, so that's how we would do nominal coordination and presumably also adjectival coordination, something like that. And we can discuss if we do the same thing or something different for sentential coordination. So that was option A. Option B is a good one and always available. It's where you use a verb like join to indicate that one element is being joined to the other. And so this one would be noun, noun, join. And that is, that was the, what do you call it? So then it would be noun, noun, coordinator, and it would come from a verb, and it would be join, and that would explain it. And then, of course, since it's a verb, it wouldn't assign the partitive, because originally verbs didn't assign anything. Okay, and then for C, simple apposition. This one I was a big fan of. So the idea is that there is nothing that indicates coordination. However, there's something that happens that's really interesting in Arabic, which is that I always struggle to come up with an example. If you were to say something like, I don't know. See, it's hard for me to come up with an example that makes, where both sentences make sense, but essentially, like, I don't know. Something transitive.
I'm just going to support you from a distance because I can't help you in Arabic.
Well, all the verbs I'm thinking of, no, that's eat. How do you say say? I said.
I don't know.
Oh, brother, because like I'm thinking of, I've got want here, rada.
Well, what we could also do is just do the English version of Arabic to say, like, you order it like this, but it's in Arabic.
I'm just gonna look up. Because I don't remember what the verb for to see is. Really embarrassed. Not cognates, verb, translations, perceive with the eyes, Arabic. Okay, it was close. Ra. Let's see, and then so I saw would be ratu. Hold on. Past perfect indicative, first person. Oh, so it's ra'aitu. Ra'aytu. Okay. Ra'aytu. Okay, so, all right. And then pull. All right,
Who
so
had the mail drop? Bingo.
there you go. رأيت الرجل البيت. All right, I don't know, or no, I saw. So that's again. This one doesn't make any sense, but it's like I saw the man, the house. It just doesn't have any interpretation, right? Because of the. Oh, I shouldn't have used something that began with a sun letter. I should have what's something that begins with a moon letter. الكلب. الكلب. That's the dog. So رأيت الكلب البيت. Okay, so I saw the dog, the house. It's the word el means what's a moon word? Moon, of course. The word el means the, and so it's just like I saw the dog, the house. It doesn't really mean anything. However, if you drop the first the, رأيت كلب البيت, it means I saw the dog of the house. I saw the dog of the house. And you know that because the first the was dropped. Okay? And that's the only way you know it. There's nothing in there in the modern Arabic language that tells you that there's some sort of possessive thing happening. You just know it because the first one doesn't have a the. And basically you keep doing that. If you want to do a string of them, so like the dog of the man of the house, be كلب الرجل البيت, you just keep dropping the word the until you get to the last one. And when you hear a the, you know that there was a possessive construction happening. And so you know that it was the blank of the blank of the blank. It's really, really, really cool. Anyway, so the whole reason I was bringing that up, even though I couldn't find a licit sentence that had all the the's in a row, is because that is essentially what this simple apposition would be. So, like, if it was just like, I don't know, the beaver and the mouse went to the store, right? And then it would just be beaver, mouse, to store, go. If it was like I gave a book to the beaver and the mouse, however, it would be, I, right? And then book, which would be secondary object. Mm-hmm. And then it would be, does primary object assign the partitive or is it only a secondary?
It's primary object, I thought.
Assigns okay, cool. And then you get beaver, mouse, primary object. But the mouse would be getting the partitive case and not beaver. So in other words, you just get beaver and it would just be like have no case assigned to it and be out in the middle of nowhere and you'd be like, what is this? Then you get to the mouse, which has the partitive case. Then you get to the case marker and you know that it's a coordinative construction. So that was why I was excited about simple apposition.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember, I think I got that wrong. No, it's not partitive because the ing is what marks the primary.
Shoot.
So it's not partitive, but that was the point though.
Yeah, so it would be secondary.
If it were a nominal modifier, the second noun has to be in the partitive because it's being modified.
Yeah.
And so that was how we got around, like, how would you know if this is a string of nouns working together as a single unit versus a situation where it's expressing some sort of modification, possession, etc. And so that was like the way it would line up, the ing would follow a string of, otherwise unmarked nouns, and well, they have to be working together.
Yes.
If it's one where it assigns the partitive, in that case, you would get the string of partitives where it's like you wouldn't have a string without some sort of governing thing unless they're working together. And so because of that, it ended up being that we could get this simple apposition with no other markings.
Yeah. And so the actual sentence would be, I gave the mouse and the beaver to the book.
Right.
So there you go. That's what how it would work. Oh, and just to clarify, in Arabic, you have moon and sun letters. Sun letters are just basically alveolar. That's it. They're alveolar. And so because of that, el assimilates totally. So it's not el rajul, it's ar rajul, like that. Moon letters, it doesn't assimilate. And so if you're trying to illustrate to somebody some point where it's like the change in the definite article isn't important, you shouldn't be using ones where it assimilates, because then it's like you have to explain something that's not relevant to the example at hand. And I totally
but that's also why a lot of our words borrowed from Arabic have al non-assimilated, like algebra and alcohol and alchemy, where it's like it's followed by a non-alveolar sound, and so the L is still very present.
Yep. All right. So
is arithmetic? No, that's not borrowed from them. That's from something else. I was gonna say, was there 2 R's? Anyway.
Where does arithmetic come from?
I'm pretty sure it's Greek. But I need to switch. Based from Greek, from arithmos, Greek.
Yeah. I know that there have been Arabic borrowings where they were sun letters, and you see an artifact. Basically, you don't get the L, but you do get the A. It's hard to think of them, though, because it's so easy to think of words that begin with, it's harder to think of words that begin anomalously with like another R or another N or another T or another D and so on. Anyway, I spent a lot of time describing an option which got 0 votes.
Nobody liked the apposition?
No. And so, it's fine because like the other 2 options were great. But I think maybe I feel like I didn't make a strong enough case for it. So I just wanted to explain why I thought it was neat.
It's also funny that, I feel it merited extra explanation anyway, just because if you are considering this for your language, that is something you need to think through, where we thought through how would you know that one noun isn't modifying or otherwise working with the following noun if you just put them side by side and say now they're coordinated. Because in a lot of languages, and maybe your language may not allow this, but in many, many languages, you can just put one noun here, and one is modifying the other. But now you have to decide, how do I show that relationship versus a coordination relationship? And how does that work when one is required to be marked in a case, or both now required to be marked in a case? And so you need to think through those if you are considering apposition. So I'm glad, even though it got 0 votes, that we spent a little more time talking about it, because I do feel it's really important. And it's actually one of the puzzles I enjoy working on as I think about coordination strategies, even when I do nothing out of the box with my coordination. And by that, I mean, like, I just go with a method that you find in so many other languages that it's like, of course you can do that, like apposition. But I love thinking about the puzzle pieces of how will things fit together in the clause structure.
Yeah. And I want you to imagine, for example, you'll see this like, you'll see a lot of like, especially beginning conlings where they're just straight up agglutinative. And it's like, say they have noun cases, and it's like, here's the noun. The nominative is the base form, and it's invariant. And then here are the various cases, and you just add a suffix. And there's like maybe minimal variation if you're adding it to a vowel or consonant final, but that's it, right? Imagine in that scenario, like, even though it looks fairly cookie cutter, you could do something fun with coordination where it's like, since the nominative is completely unmodified, you could just do that and say, all right, in coordination, you can just string nouns together with absolutely no case marking, and only the last one will tell you what the case of the whole phrase is. And by its very presence, it will tell you that it was a coordinative strategy. See, that's something fun you could do with something that is otherwise very basic and very cookie cutter. All right, so now to the real test, or the real competition was between options A and option B. And even though it was certainly closer, it was not that close. The winner is medial mud, option A, Jesse's favorite. Well done.
And that way, okay, so when I presented, because I actually presented 4 ideas to David. He took the 3 that he liked the best.
Yeah.
And when I presented the 4 ideas that I had for him to hear, I presented them actually backwards from how I had come up with them, because I came up with the mud idea first. But I wanted to like build up to it because I was so excited about it. So like I presented them. I'm like, here's one option. Here's another option. I hit the last one. I hit like and it could be based on the word mud. And David just looked at me and I was like, dang, I was so excited about this. And he was just like, I don't know about this. So then I'm like, doing visuals and like showing like, well, it would be like this, and that's where it came from. And then he got on board. But yeah, it was such an anticlimactic moment where I had reserved it for last. I was building up to this big monumental moment, and David just went, what?
Yeah. Sometimes it requires a little extra brain work to figure it out, and I was so glad that I did, because I really loved it. So yeah, and by the way, I saw it, Patrick, and I was going to comment on it when Jesse was done. This is fascinating. I didn't even know this word came from Arabic.
I didn't know.
I assumed it came from a Native
Bubba,
American
you've got
language.
a point there. You do quite often. When I have a clear favorite in mind, patrons do tend to pick up on that vibe, however you do. Whereas when David has a clear, I hate this the most vibe, you all pick up on that too and vote for it.
Yeah. So here we go. It comes, Spanish got it from Arabic. Arabic had tub, and then tub would be, the brick, I guess. And then that became adobe in Spanish.
Yeah, that's where we get it from.
Yeah. Right.
That's
on.
awesome.
And it goes back to,
Oh, look at that.
yeah, to,
I love that first hieroglyph. Like from here, I want to get my head closer, but then I'm like all up in your screen space. But from here, it looks like a bird wearing one of those train conductor hats. And I am on board with that. It looks so cute. It probably is just a bird, and I'm just seeing the line at a weird angle, but
it's a bird that has one of those mohawks, and this is the bird that tells you it's a sequence of two sounds. The what I would have pronounced, because we don't know exactly how it was pronounced, so we always pronounce that one as the, and then so it's the sequence the ba, and then this foot here is just ba, and then T is just feminine. And then this is just a little determinative that says, hey, it's a brick. So that's how the spelling works there.
that is so cool.
Anyway.
Okay, so thank you, Patrick, for looking that up and posting it here, because that's amazing. And it was a word I knew we had borrowed from Spanish, and I'd never thought more about it. And so I'm very happy to learn how old it is and to see its hieroglyphic representation. That's amazing.
Oh, that wasn't the, it was the ja, so jabbat. Apparently, they reconstructed as with ejective, which became again, and then that eventually became ta in Arabic. How about that? But yeah, I always love that little bird. You know what it reminded me of? Oh my God, you know what it reminded me of?
I'm looking up this bird that someone asked, is that what it is? I love this one. Yeah. I think it's a different... Is that the same one?
I don't know.
Oh, you know what? It does say it's across Africa, Asia, and Europe, so that could definitely be it.
Probably.
How do you say it? Hopo? Hopo?
Isn't it the hoopoe?
Hoopoe?
But I'm going to show you what it reminds me of.
Hoopu or hoopo. Those are two different ways you can say it.
Okay, come on.
And Patrick says it's most likely either a lapwing or a hoopoe.
This is what that bird always reminded me of. This little bird from Disney's Peter and the Wolf. It's just a bird, but he's wearing a little Russian hat.
Goodness gracious.
There he is. And yeah, I used to have a record where you listened to Peter and the Wolf and followed along with the story. And I listened to that a lot as a kid. All right.
I am loving this little mohawk bird. And like when he doesn't have it all up, he just looks like that. He's just got like a blue jay looking head structure. And then suddenly it's like whoop with the feathers up. I love it. Okay. Hey, let's let's make this real, David. We need a word for mud. We need to write up some coordination strategies.
Look, Mateus also had that record as a kid.
Oh, that's delightful.
I sometimes forget that Mateus isn't 30 years younger than me.
Mateus is never aging. Maybe Mateus has the beauty of youth from like some secret alchemist project that has yet to be shared, because I feel like I would believe that I could see a picture of Mateus 100 years ago looking exactly as he looks now. Like I can see that actually happening.
Yep.
Elf ancestry is what Mateus is claiming.
Okay. So, this is newly.
Yeah, Jonathan, I think surely there are images of Mateus in old manuscripts, because surely people wanted to paint Mateus's image as like side art in books and stuff, like as part of it, like wearing the skirts and the laces, and it'd be an image to be captured 100 years.
Side art?
You know, like the margin art that goes, you know, the pages that have the big letter and then the art coming down. Like the owl wearing a hoodie that I showed you was part of the side art that I'm talking about.
Right.
Like, I feel like we're going to find
Marginalia.
Mateus somewhere. We have to find out first, though, if the elfin ears have they gone down, or were they more extended in the past? And then we can look for the elfin ears. Fighting a snail. Yes, Mateus fighting a snail. Oh, that has to be done.
Okay, so what we actually have to do is we know the lexical source for our conjunction, but like we need to actually make it. We need to make the word for mud and decide if it's going to condense or not.
Well, I came up with the idea, so
Yeah.
you come up with the...
Hey, check this out. Jesse's dad grew this garlic, and we've been using it. It's so good. Anyway.
In case any of you are wondering, this is how work sessions in general are with David. Where we'll be working and suddenly he'll be like, wait, and off he goes, and then I'm like, well, I guess we'll get back to that. Or sometimes it's off he goes on Reddit, or the next thing I know, I thought we were coming up with words or something for a project, and he's like, look at this, and he's showing me some amazing cat photos. I'm like, oh, David.
All right.
Yes, he did make it. He made it. Of course, you could also use the verb that he grew it, but you know, why do that? That's boring.
I have an idea. G-A and then L, that's voiceless, for garlic.
Sorry, Snuggly Squid said, the way you moved before you pulled out the garlic made me think for a second you were sitting on it. And so now I'm just imagining you like as a hen in a nest with like, got my
hatchet.
garlic eggs. Okay, anyway. Indeed, Bubba, you're absolutely
Nice
right.
job. So what do you think?
So G and an L.
Proto-Gosh, which would be modern Ga, which would shorten as just a coordinator to Ga.
I like it.
We could discuss having Ka as well. Do we have assimilation, this language?
Asking the hard questions, asking the things that, you know, I never remember.
Moscow. We do.
Until I look it up.
So we can have it be Ga Ka. Set in order. Ga
I'm I'm the one that is supposed to come up with silly forms that you go, what? to. And here you are, gakkaing the mud. Next thing you know, you're going to want to have it be willy wah.
Oh my. So, incidentally, I looked that up on Wiktionary to see if there was a pronunciation. There was not. That, and in fact, the entry for that is kind of silly. I would like to show it to everybody.
I'm going to type the word. Oh, wait, no, you're going to show it.
Yeah.
Willy
First
wah
of all,
is apparently a word.
this is also not the canonical pronunciation or spelling. Apparently, this is Willy wah. No pronunciation. Etymology unknown.
Well, of course it is.
Strongest to win. And there's a whole bunch of spellings, including with the U. This was the archaic form of Willy wah. Oh, we do have a quotation, 1982.
Yeah. Oh,
The-
that was.
The
so-
breeze in this case was the infamous North Chicago Willy wah that sometimes blows outward in bleacherward at Wrigley Field.
Wow. Now this one says it is associated with mountainous coast, like the winds that you get from mountainous coasts.
Look at the pronunciation. It's not Willy wah, it's Williwaw,
Williwaw.
like will-o-wisp.
That's amazing.
But this particular entry on Wiktionary has been here since June 9th of 2004. It's been here for 20 years. And still, this is the best that anybody can say about it.
It was a word that was in our Balderdash game last night, and so we had to come up with definitions for Williwaw.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start saying it correctly now that I know it's not Willy-waw.
Yeah.
Williwaw.
I have to say, Williwaw sounds like the Missouri pronunciation of Willy wah.
We know how to do it. It's the good old Williwaw. So anyway, yeah, no, that just reminded me of it. The kaka, Williwaw. Okay, so I liked your original idea. However, if you're feeling this silly gaga, I will always get on board with silly. And I could see a sort of onomatopoeic value to either, the sound of the suction of the mud when you step in it. When you step down, it's the ga. When you pull your foot loose, it's the ka.
I mean, I was really just thinking it was quite simple assimilation depending on the previous consonant.
I was giving you something to work with story-wise.
A sec. I'm gonna.
My taste. Oh, and that is my favorite Discord emoji that we have in our server is the Mateus face. It makes me so happy.
Let's see. None of these is nouns. I guess that one is, but that's it. Oh, here we go. This is good enough. This is good enough. So then, Kalu. And this is.
I should get down to my English side.
Mud.
I mean, what else can you say besides mud?
Muck.
And what was the full spelling? G-A.
G-A-A. We don't have enough derivations yet, but I'd love to have a derivation of this be the word for like mortar or whatever,
Oh, to be.
Yeah, glue. We don't have. Oh, I'm so tired. I'm so sorry. We don't have.
You should be sorry. Goodness, you're not allowed to be tired. Plus, wait. The bingo card means if you want to make people get bingo, you got to make me say I'm tired and is it nap time? That's what the bingo card says. Now you're stealing my job. You're stealing my thunder.
Is it nap time?
Now you done stole it. Okay, so
But
David,
yeah, I would love a derivation off of this for glue or mortar, maybe later.
we had an idea. No, wait, we needed an augmentative, and then we were
Yeah.
gonna add it to bark to be
Then we have-
food, and then we have ideas for augmentatives
Well, let's-
because that could be like a. I don't know if that would actually be augmentative or if it would be diminutive because you would use for mortar, you would want a thin layer of the mud. But then again, it's like you want, special thick mud.
Could also be what do you call it? Some sort of tool or instrument derivation. So let's just stick with this for the time being, and we can talk more in depth about derivation later. So we got that, and now
And Eric, if you're asking about the fonts in the document, the main font is Palatino X, which is one
Yeah.
that David made based on the Palatino family. It's his favorite, and so that's the main font. Eventually, there will be a unique font for the Beaver language, one that David creates while I draw pictures for him. I think the last earthquake we had dislodged that little photo on top of the little house that holds the figurines.
oh,
The whole top is leaning. Like
how is it still surviving?
That's what I
Do you
want to
wanna-
go.
do
I
you
want to
wanna
go
hop up?
inspect.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I'm so curious how this is still standing up, but is leaning that far.
Yeah, take a photograph of it so everybody can see later.
It got caught at just the right angle. I'm gonna try to get. I have no idea how this is still standing.
And there's that bird. Nice job, Patrick. What was the name of the bird in Peter and the Wolf? So Sasha was the cat. Or was Sasha the bird?
That is amazing bird.
I can't remember if Sasha was the cat or the bird. I always felt like Sasha should be the word for the cat or the name for the cat.
And it was just the hexagonal base is apparently very strong.
Ooh.
And so it was leaning up on the base of that, and this got caught perfectly in the little top there. And so I will post this picture on Discord. It's just going to look like a thing. It was just impressive as I looked at it from here going, how are things falling over but not on top of our little house?
So we have words for, was it beaver and opossum? Beaver and mouse? Beaver and
We had
bird?
frog.
Rabbit?
We had frog.
Frog, boonga.
I think we did have bird. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Yeah, we have bird. We have
Frog
is
frog
bunga.
is boonga. Okay, what are they going to be doing? Sleeping? Pooh.
Oh, that's right. Because that was like the little, as they sleep and their little lips go as they breathe out.
Okay, so they got boonga. Boona, the beaver.
As David is like trying to do some very important work. Now it's my turn to.
Okay. Now, I just wanted to see something. perfect. That's the one. That's the one we want.
Okay.
Oh. Oh, good. It's just third person.
So we don't need the...
We don't need to worry about the agreement. It just happens.
Oh, and Patrick, thank you in chat for all the great bird. Whoop. The great bird images here.
Sasha is the songbird, the cat is Ivan. That was it. So during the character introduction, the animals are given names. Sasha is the songbird, and Ivan is the cat. That was what always struck me as so bizarre. Sasha was clearly a cat name, and Ivan should have been the bird. And there's Sonia the duck.
We met a horse named Moose.
That one made sense. He sure looked like a moose. Uh-oh. Oh, LangTime. Oh, thank goodness it's back.
Oh, did it momentarily have a hiccup?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. Minnie has a cat, or not a cat. I said cat when I was reading Rabbit off the screen named Mina.
Okay. So we need a noun that makes sense for something like this that ends in S. So I want to see how far this goes.
And now...
Matka. What else is voiceless?
Let's pull up the IPA chart here. We got P, F, the theta, F, and we do have voiceless nasals and L's.
Yeah.
So depending on how many you want to enter in there.
Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Huh.
Oh, do they not?
Well,
Oh, the S changes it, but the T doesn't it? Doesn't it? I can speak. And then the F becomes a V. Whoa. We've got some interesting things going on.
And some questions to ask ourselves. I'm going to delete these so that we're focused on our business here. Oh, right. This whole thing, this has been off screen because Lexergy reloaded. Lexergy's going a little bit slow. Is Graham here? There we go. All right. So let's put our problem children together. These guys at the top. Also theta. I want to see about that.
Okay. There we go. Okay, so now I've got those posted in Discord. I can... And
Yes. Boy.
I am curious how we did sound changes that went.
This is having a time.
Oh, is it not? Are you trying to trace?
No, I was just trying to have it do the sound changes because I want to see what happens with Mathka, and it is not doing it.
I want to see if mine is potentially going any better.
There we go. Okay, and then the TH doesn't devoice. It doesn't do anything at all. I hate to say this, Jess. We're going to have to revisit our sound changes. So sorry.
And was that the original TH, or were you looking at the dental TH that becomes?
The actual theta. Frequicatives change their voicing to match the consonant they're next to. If two occur next to each other, the result is voicelessness. So this just seems like an error in lexergy, because the theta should be going to the, so it should be madga.
Okay.
Now, I don't...
What rule is that called?
Frequicative voicing assimilation.
Okay.
But we never wrote anything about voiceless, about stops coming next to each other.
Okay.
Have we done that? Okay, I'm gonna take a look at the rules here.
Yeah, Lexergy is very slow. I tried it here too, and it is not showing me any output.
So
I think it's having a day, which I totally understand. We all have our days, right?
so
Ooh.
with the frequicative voicing assimilation, maybe this was a mistake in how I wrote the rule, but if theta counts as apical, which it might,
It was in Lexergy, from what I could tell.
then that's why it's not being affected here, but it should. It
Okay.
should be affected.
I can't now. Lexergy is like
Lexergy's done so.
it gave me a gateway timeout error, and so I think though I remember seeing, I may be incorrect. I think though it was a dental apical fricative. I think that was the full description.
South Africa and West Indies has ended for the day. South Africa scored 160 all out. West Indies is currently batting and have scored 97 for 7 in their first
Can you all hear this?
This is day one. The United States lost to the Netherlands by 14 runs.
I don't know
Last Tuesday, the
why
United
she's
States
talking
beat
to us
Canada by 14 runs.
and giving
That
us
was
scores.
cricket.
That was cricket scores that were being read.
Yeah. Okay.
Apparently, I said something that activated a certain
Okay.
robotic voice.
The way that Graham wrote the rule is preventing theta from voicing before a voiced stop. And I could have sworn theta counted as weak, didn't it?
I mean,
You know what? If regular F counts as weak, then theta should count as weak as well. So so yeah, that will need to change. But no, we needed to say something about two stops that don't match in voicing coming next to one another, because that can happen, right?
well, I mean, we can get
Right?
we can get in an environment like that.
Yeah, if you can get pizza, then you can get pikga. Absolutely.
And yes, Mateus, I think we need to add a new bingo item for when we accidentally activate a certain voice. And this was great that we got cricket scores being read
Yeah.
to us from a whole day's worth of scores, apparently. But yeah,
Here, I want to see if I can get it to do this, because I want to see if
here we
it'll.
go.
There, yeah, pikga. There's no change there, so that needs to change. I'll be back You're in charge of the stream for a little bit.
I'm double checking if, gosh, I was so excited it finally opened again, and then I tried to click on something else. I was double checking how the theta was coded in Luxergy. One moment while I'm waiting for that screen to catch up. Let me move. I gotta see where I should move. Just say I'm gonna move it little by little until everything's on screen. Hey, you wanna know a fun story about a grasshopper? While I'm killing time here, as we think about whether we like the fact that stops can be side by side like pika, or whether we don't like it. Is that one night while we were in Missouri, we were like in the house after having been outside, and suddenly David was like, I swear I feel something on my leg, and like couldn't figure out what it was, but like, you know, like on the calf of his leg, he's like, there's something, I swear there's something moving inside my jeans. And so started shaking his leg out, and a grasshopper fell out, so he had picked up a little hitchhiker outside. Oh, it was good. It was good. All right, so we have voiceless things voicing between voice sounds. We have frequicatives completely changing. We've got that. Okay, so voiceless nasals do all their own things.
Yeah.
And just to verify, David, this
Yeah.
is, you do not like having stops able to mismatch in voicing.
I don't think so. I don't think that mat ga should be allowed.
I just want to say that is something for this language specifically. It is something that can be allowed. So if you're working on your own language,
Yeah.
it's not that it can't be allowed. It's more of thinking about, does this match the spirit of what we have done so far? And we do seem to have quite a bit of assimilation happening among consonants in this language.
Yeah. Okay. So the first change that happens.
I told them you had picked up a grasshopper in the leg of your pants in Missouri.
Oh yeah.
Because a grasshopper had been mentioning leveling up from ants in your pants, right? Oh, there was noise. Was that just David walking upstairs?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, if anyone walks on the second floor, it sounds incredibly loud down here.
So this first sound change, terrible postnasal assimilation, all has the second element changing because of because of the presence of the first.
But the frequicative voice changing is just next to it, whether they're before or after.
Yeah, because they're weak.
Okay.
Presumably stops are strong.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, sibilants change the voicing of adjacent non-sonorants to match their voicing. So that means Mazda will become Mazda, right?
Okay.
I'd love to test that, but Lexergy is a little slow right now, so don't want to do anything. Voiceless nasals become PT and K after voiceless consonants. After voiced ones, presumably they become voiced nasals.
Okay.
This is all vowel stuff. Yeah, so it seems like this has to be happening somewhere in here.
I was just scrolling through to see if we had any existing forms where we clearly had a protoform that had, coda next to an onset. Oh, here. And so you're right.
Yeah.
Kazpa becomes Kazba.
Yeah, Rakakaspa.
Exactly.
So in other words, there is a hierarchy. At the top of it are strident fricatives. Below that is stops. Below that is nasals, and below that is weak fricatives. So when stop comes next to stop, we have, for example, matka, and then we have magta, and we have to decide if the same thing is going to happen to those. So, for example, we could decide voicelessness is more powerful, and so they always devoice. Or we could decide positionally one is more acoustically prominent than the other, and so that one will determine the voicing. And of course, it's the onset that's going to be more acoustically prominent. Mm-hmm.
To the point where when you do get in a lot of languages that allow, matka as a unit, if you say it quickly, what you may notice can tend to happen unless you're like paying careful attention to pronunciation is you just end up saying matka with like a glottal stop or something that can very easily just then be coded as a sort of shorter vowel quality than what happens on the ga. So like maga, maga, maga. Bad example.
I'm sorry. I mean, you're supposed to.
Patka. There we go. And it just becomes paga as you go through it. So that could disappear. However, if it then disappears and speakers really need it to be enunciated, what you can envision happening then is it becomes madga, madga, or padga, something with a d.
I hate to do this because it's such a slight thing, but let's make this the poll. So I have 3 ideas.
Okay. Yeah, it's an unfortunate. I was just trying to demonstrate what can happen, especially with a voiceless stop at the end of the syllable before the voiced, and whoops.
Yeah. So this should probably be.
Yeah, good time for metathesis, right?
Metathesis.
Metathesis. Aww. That's so close to metathesis.
Ooh, the Star Trek pronunciation of Matase is Mathygus.
Mathygus. I love it.
So let's do it right here. So this is going to be the new sound change 8. Can we actually? There we go. And so this is going to be called stop simplification. Sound change itself is TBD. Also TBD, but here are some options.
Good old Matt Hijinks is excited to see what you're about to write here.
Ooh. All right. Okay. So
that was my version of Data trying to pull his Western accent in one of his plays where he's supposed to be like kind of robotic, but not quite there yet. He really is a good actor because he really makes it believable.
Yeah.
There's a difference between just being bad at certain things and being able to pretend being bad at them, and you can tell the difference. And I gotta say, I think Brent Spiner, right?
Yep. Also,
I gotta say, I think he's pretty good.
Now you got to rewatch that episode of The Big Bang Theory where, at the end of it, Will Wheaton, gives him, the figurine, the toy, in the packaging is kind of like, his, giving the olive branch and putting their feud to rest. And Brent Spiner comes in and grabs it. He says, "Oh, cool! Look at that!" And he just like
Just takes it out.
all right, so voicelessness wins. Easy. So Patka becomes
Yeah, I gotta say, Data, for all of his lack of emotional affects in the show, which I think he does a pretty good job of holding back a lot of the human reactions that would happen. Data is definitely comedic relief in a lot of scenes, but by nature of like, or by virtue of not understanding how humans would act or do things in a certain situation. And he ends up being so funny by holding back, and it's like that to me is quite amazing. Oh, I haven't seen the movies. And so Patrick says they have the emotion chip installed for the movies.
They do. And there are times in the movies where basically they tell them, "Can you please turn it off?" Because
Too much. That's amazing. Okay. I don't know why I didn't just jump to you. I'm scrolling everywhere in this document. Okay.
all right. And now option C.
Gotta turn that off.
Yeah. I do have to turn that off, especially because I always remember what the copyright symbol is. It's really easy. It's just Alt G.
I feel like I turned mine off because I got tired. I did. I turned mine off. You can go into preferences when you're done with this. When you're done with this little stream here.
I don't know if we have any words that would need to change as a result of this.
We only have an example of the fricative. We don't have any words yet of stops back to back. If that's what you're asking, because
Any stops at all?
I scrolled through the entire thing and I did not see any back to back stops. I will double check. But we had very few with codas and onsets in general, and a lot of them that are examples where a form got shortened for grammaticalization, and so it's not the same situation as like a whole word. And this wouldn't affect situations like Litsa, right? Because that's the only like coda onset that has a stop at the end.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay. We have not really explored the option of having stop. I think that says something about our own aesthetic preferences. I made a new word in Jwadi today.
Here, wait. I want to hear about that, but I want to just specify 2 sound changes. Devoicing, then gemination. And this is also 2 2 sound changes. And this one is shoot, is it regressive voicing assimilation or progressive voicing assimilation, where the first thing assimilates to the second thing?
Regressive, because the assimilation starts at the second thing and goes backwards,
Then gemination. Okay.
I think.
So I've got our 4 options, and they're quite different. Yeah. So basically, options A and B are just one sound change.
Mm-hmm.
Options C and D are options A and B with a second sound change added in that results in gemination.
Ooh,
So there we go. All right, perfect.
that's exciting. Oh, and you know what? We should celebrate with Kopiko.
Sure.
And-
Epenthetic vowel, Patrick, out. Goodness gracious.
Make things longer. Okay. Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh goodness, my hand is not wanting to work today. And I didn't even do crocheting today because I was a little worried 'cause my hand was tired. Goodness.
Kopiko. When you're as tired as I am, you eat one of these, and you will be rejuvenated. I hope. ...
Yeah, Miles. We only need a first pull around these parts. Okay. So, your Dothraki word of the day is
Tethys, that's option B. Yeah.
is the verb meaning like to ricochet, to bounce.
Yeah.
And that got me thinking about echoes
Mm-hmm.
and how quite often in conlangs I make echo somehow related to bouncing. But I was like, that's only because we know that the sound is coming back at us. But like, what would it be like if you were in the situation where you hear an echo for the first time and you're trying to describe it? Like, what's actually happening?
Mm-hmm.
So I made a word in Swahili that is effectively built on the same root that you get a verb like to say or speak, but you also get like with the human prefix you get like the the word for voice, or sorry, the sky prefix, because voice is something that comes through the air. And so I made it a stone noun is an echo, so a stone speaking. Because where Majwadi speakers are, they would hear it most likely in caves.
Yeah.
You wouldn't really hear echoes in a lot of other places, especially early on in the community. And so it'd be only in situations where you're like completely surrounded by stone, and so it's like it would be like the stone speaking to you. And so it's like the stone voice. And I was very excited about it.
That's wonderful.
Patrick, I don't think I have a favorite just yet. Finnish has made me quite keen on geminates. And so I rather like them, even though I can't always say them correctly because I just degeminate a whole lot while I say things.
Yeah. I have to say, things like Finnish they really puzzle me because they've done so much work to turn things into long vowels and geminates. And then you end up with words like pitka.
That is very true. And so yeah, I'm not entirely sure which one I like better.
Is it pitka? I thought it was pitka with back vowels.
I think it's an ah.
Huh. You really can't tell with Finnish. One of the failures of its vowel harmony system.
Well, let's look up.
Yeah, pitka. Yep.
No, there is no.
Huh?
No, there is no version of this without the umlaut.
Yeah.
I looked that up. So yeah, pika.
I don't know if there are two words that are the same with a neutral vowel and then both a back and non-back version. I'm not sure if that exists.
It does, I think. Just a second.
Liha is meat, which does have back vowel.
There was a word that I was looking at in the Finnish book where they were like, make sure you get this right because it does make a difference.
Swiss language just says the ka is a suffix. So, of course, it would assimilate, yeah.
I think it was varen and var, like vara, varin versus verin.
Oh, that's right. So, varing is wrong. And then
But like this is where
varing is, that's grandfather, isn't it? Vari. Yeah.
vari is grandfather.
And then what is vari? Because it's certainly something. That's just because that's just
think
a
it's just
case
a
ending.
form of-
No, that's a case ending.
Well, it's not here in the dictionary, so I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not on its own. It's in a lot of different forms, though. Like a varista.
Oh, now Miles is just throwing this in our faces.
Ooh.
Miles on his way to the
On their way.
on their way to the what do you call it, the
the board game.
board game cafe, a thing that we don't have.
Okay, just a second. I'm reading more about what Sister Languages is posting here, and this is something that I am really working on now. I think David has a better handle on it, but when you get certain suffixes and then you need to do something to the base, what? Right now it's the partitive right now, where some words retain their full base and others, like, you lose it or it changes. It's like how kuusi is both spruce and six. But when you put them in the partitive, one is spruce is kuusta, but
And
then
six is-
six is kuuta
Yeah.
with a double T, kuuta. And so, like, I'm still learning how do these things relate and how do you know it? It's amazing.
Oh man. Minnie just said go forth in grammar, and I was imagining for some reason, a crisp autumn day where we presided over LangTime University,
I'm so ready for crisp autumn days.
and they were graduating in autumn for whatever reason. And, we said at the end of it, to all the new graduates, go forth in grammar.
That's amazing.
Anyway, so yeah, I'm glad about that. We'll settle that up. And of course, the whole reason this came up was where the darn thing was going to voice or not.
Yeah. Yes. That is a now. Now a new parting in ways. Go forth in grammar. It's so lovely. Okay, David. So this assimilation, by the way, this all came about because we were working on coordination, right?
Yeah. We do, Jake. I bet Miles's cafe isn't as noisy too.
And maybe, well, depending on if it's a cafe with food service, maybe the table will get served a little bit faster. I swear we were there for an hour before the server even came and asked if we wanted a drink, much less if we wanted food. Oh, goodness.
Jake, eventually at some point in time, you're going to have to visit Ohio.
To visit Miles?
Yeah.
Has Miles been to London to visit Jake?
You know,
And
Miles.
by London, I mean, you know, east of
Miles,
London.
eventually you're going to have to visit Southend.
Okay. Oops.
All right. Well, let's at least show the one thing that we know how it works.
Yeah.
An animate noun that ends in S. If we don't have one, we can create one.
Okay. Grass is not good.
You know, I can speak.
Grass is our only noun.
Okay. I can speak very well about a few places in Ohio, Cincinnati and Columbus among them. There are some delightful things there. Wonderful bookstore in Columbus. Cincinnati is a wonderful city. Cleveland I didn't spend as much time in, but it's nice and very empty. Anyway.
And also, Jonathan noted on the
Nice,
note you
nice
had up
mini.
there. I thank you for the clarification. Yeah, Cincinnati is a lot of fun. Okay, yeah, we need to create, if you want an animate noun, we need to create one because
Yeah.
odas, meaning grass, is the only thing that I can find that ends in an S that is a noun. And so,
Now I'm thinking about calling rabbits furred frogs because they also jump. Or fur ear frogs. Whoa, Biblaridian. Well, actually, Biblaridian said something earlier and I totally missed it. It was something science-y. Frogs.
I like it.
Oh, but yeah, to get something that ends in S, mouse. A mouse could be onomatopoeic.
Because it ends in S already in English.
No, I was thinking something like kiss kiss.
Aw.
Yeah, because it's like the little little mousy noises.
That is very cute. No, it was cheek is how they say
Yes.
to speak in their proto form, which comes out as chi. So chi is speaking in the mouse language in Wokatishu. Wokatishu is the right.
Woku-tishu?
Woku, not woka. Woku tishu. Goodness gracious. All right.
So I like our onomatopoeic word for mouse. I do think that the beavers and mice might work well together. So there should be some borrowings into the beaver language from Wokutishu and back, and that it could happen at an early stage, so that we could see some of the codas
Yeah.
from Wokutishu.
Because the mice are the learned engineers and the beavers are the natural engineers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Check that out.
Yeah, I love it.
I dropped a learned into the stream. The beavers are the ones who put the mice in those cute little walnut shell, thingies to send them from place to place on the work site. Zipline type things. What are those called? We called them something. Like in English, not in Wokatishu, but
Air trams,
something like that. Yeah.
sky buckets.
There we go.
Absolutely, Matei. So that's part of what I really enjoy about these animal kingdoms. There will be natural affinities and also natural rivalries, and that is a nice way to kind of distinguish the beavers and the mice, where the beavers, would favor construction that works with, the environment. And mice would be like, well, this is the most efficient way it could happen, so let's just level everything and build something new. All right, let's see. So this is going to be keys plus keys, and this is going to be, where do we write onomatopoeic?
Let me look up another entry. One moment. Please hold. After the protoform,
okay.
in parentheses, and then inside the parentheses in italics.
And do we say onomatopoeia? Okay.
Or I learned how to spell that word in 6th grade, and so I would, every time our teacher would say it for like a spelling test, I would in my head go onomatopoeia. And so when I need to write it, I still do that. Onomatopoeia.
I think about how, like, it's Greek, so the one that has the big stress is going to be A for ah. And then everything else is O.
Goodness.
Hey, there's another bird.
Oh, sure is. That's the lapwing. That's what Patrick was showing us in Discord. Patrick put the lapwing in Discord to show us the difference between that one and then the hoopoe one.
Wow.
It just came up on our little hieroglyph of the day thing. That talk about just kismet. It's amazing.
Oh, there's Mateus with a flex.
Onomatopoeia symbol. There are definitely words I still, when I write them, I just say them in my head because spelling was always one of my strong suits, but I would always have little weird self-mental things to help keep me on track with how to spell some bigger words that, especially when they required a lot of different vowels or things that you couldn't hear. And so things like, I still, to this day, when I write the word chihuahua in my head, I'm saying chihuahua. I say it in my head as I write it. Listen, I'm not going to miss those letters. It's a chihuahua. He laughs. And yet.
In Latin, that was always pronounced oi, right?
Poemy. Oh, it's poem. Poemy. It does work, Minnie. It works. So I'm telling you, these little self tricks, and it's not like I say it out loud like that. Like I don't go over to David's parents' house and like, oh look, their dog is a chihuahua. I don't say it, but like in my head as I'm spelling it, there it is. Chihuahua. Oh, Jake, yes, you just brought it to a new level. That I think though would be a chia for the end of onomatopoeia.
Oh, the first one is pronounced oo. The second one is pronounced o.
Chihuahua. Oh my goodness. Oh, now we're just getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
The chihuahua. Oh, that's kind of a fun chihuahua.
Wow. That was pretty good.
Okay. So we got keys. And now you can actually do the thing that you wanted to do.
Yeah, when...
Here I am riffing on David for getting us off track, and then here I go getting us so off track right now because I have just been derailed, so I'm staying derailed, apparently.
All right. So...
Keys.
The beaver is sleeping. And the frog is doing some verbal thing. That's different.
So they're sleeping. And the frog is... We want intransitive, right? Just to show, like...
If we got it.
Singing?
Yes.
Dali.
Of course.
Haha.
Okay, so now
Or swim if you want swimming instead. Diving. These are some other options. Sitting. I just, singing is great.
well then let's change it to the mouse.
Mojala.
All right, so
Don't forget to
option.
change the words in the sentence.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, the whole thing has to change. Never
Yeah.
mind. Never mind. I see what's happening.
So one option is just to copy it, just
Mm-hmm.
throw down "ga" and say this is it. Or we could do an entirely different strategy.
So this, David, let me. Refresh myself here. Those are all noun ones. Okay, so this is, I started getting ideas for coordination that then didn't make as much sense for the noun phrase strategies and didn't make as much sense for this particular language. And
I feel like sitting back in the chair, so I'm going to scoot forward.
sure thing. You could also close your computer just ever so slightly to have your camera more at your face.
Well, I'll see what happens when it
Sure,
catches
sure.
up.
And so I had like this correlative strategy idea where you would end up marking both elements that are being joined together, where it's like you're basically saying not only or not just X, but also Y. But as I started working with that strategy, again, it didn't seem to make sense for our nouns, especially since our nouns, we want the partitive marking really clearly doing some other functions. And so I thought that would be better for clausal coordination if we wanted to consider that. But then I was thinking then like having potentially simultaneous versus sequential and when
Yeah.
I say versus, I mean like actually different strategies, however we do it. And a lot of languages do that. A lot of languages just say, you use adverbs. You pop in an adverb if you want to make it clear that this happened, then that happened. And so it's not necessarily something that has to be coded in the coordinator itself. I had, so for simultaneous, thinking of things that just like coming from an adverb meaning also, or together, or actually coming from something where it's a two-part way where you actually start with a subordinator like while or when, and then move it to a coordinating strategy, which is something that can happen in languages. For sequential, having things like follow, actually using some sort of ordinal like first, second, so you would mark both clauses and you would say this first, this next, basically. Something meaning then. Those were some ideas I had thrown out onto paper. So that's where my mind was. I stopped going down that road though because I really wanted to focus on getting noun phrases. Otherwise, yeah, like tie, follow. Those would be more nouny. Yeah. Everything else was more noun related. So that's where I was. That's what I had.
Meanwhile, while you were doing that, chat just went off about Chapel Roan with Minnie throwing shade. And I will tell you this. Meridian absolutely fell in love the moment she heard it with the song Pink Pony Club, and she sings it all the time, and it makes her happy. That is enough for me to embrace Chapel Roan. All right. Let's see.
Although I gotta say, I don't understand Minnie's comment at all because I don't know the artists or the connotations. But I love like how into pop culture or current culture, I should say, that you need to be able to understand. She seems like Jojo Siwa, probably saying it wrong,
No, that's
for
right.
people who like Phoebe Bridgers. And I'm like, what?
And I also have to tell you that Meridian,
Wow.
I got her, and she still has a unicorn from JoJo Siwa, and she loved it. So,
Who is Jojo Siwa?
so JoJo Siwa was a YouTuber that then got big, and then was sponsored. Like I think she was part of Disney for a while. Just doing a lot of things. Just selling a lot of stuff that like Meridian really really liked. And then most recently, she's decided to have a transformation, which has gotten panned because it seems very aggressive and corporate. As all like, now I'm doing, this, this heavy thing as opposed to feeling more natural. But I have one of my
She got her start as one of the kids on Dance Moms.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then from there, she was signed to Nickelodeon.
Oh, Nickelodeon, Disney. All right, there we go. But I will say this. This is, to me, one of my proudest dad moments. Meridian saw this unicorn at Target, fell in love with it. This was in like early November. Fell in love with it so much that I was like, oh, let me take your picture with it. Look at this picture. All right. And then I said, now put it back because we're not buying anything today. And we did. She put it back. We left the store. There was no tantrum. And then, of course, I went back later and bought it for her as a Christmas present, which she got on Christmas that year.
I think that says a whole lot about your general low expectations for children in stores. like, yeah. There's some commentary going on there. All right.
All right. Anyway, so
Now, more monstrous, Patrick, would have been David saying, well, I'm buying it for myself. You don't get to play with it.
yeah.
That would be monstrous.
Okay. So
Right, Danielle? Oh, Mateus, David made Meridian put a stuffed unicorn she fell in love with in Target back on the shelf because they weren't buying anything that day.
yeah.
Okay. So anyway, those were the ideas that I gave to you that we could talk about. But I also, again, it's not that we need something totally different. And we also, and I just want to put this very loud and clear out there, we do not need a clausal coordinator just because we have a conjunction that explicitly marks coordination of noun phrases. We can use the apposition method for clauses, where you just have two side by side. In other words, you don't really know how closely the clauses are being held, whether there's a period, full stop between them or not. You would only see that if in the writing system we have some way to mark full versus like we want these things kind of held together. Maybe no punctuation versus some sort of punctuation to separate them. And I say that because that's there are a lot of different strategies for combining information in terms of how overtly we want the speaker or the writer to be held responsible for making sure the person receiving the information understands it, versus how much of the information load is placed on the recipient to figure out the importance of connections. And English tends to be much more specific in us wanting to lay out the connections for the person receiving it. But you don't have to do that, and it can still be understood, and you can still see, because in the middle of a conversation, if you say the beaver is sleeping, the mouse is singing, and then you move on, like, there's got to be some connection. So the recipient's going to be working to figure out how are these tied together. You wouldn't otherwise just randomly like pop out with these two very different things and then, keep going. And so a lot can actually be put on the recipient. So anyway, all that is to say we don't need an actual marker. We could have just apposition, say we just string them together and leave it up to the recipient to figure that out. We could say that mud, it just gets used so often, and it will, as we quite often, especially with subjects of verbs, tie things together. And so then eventually it's just like, well, this means and. It's completely lost its mud meaning and how it came to be. And so now it just can be popped in between clauses as well. And so we can definitely do that.
Yeah. And incidentally, I realized I could just put the full sentences in there, and so I did. This is actually what apposition would look like. We could pop a comma in there, but,
Right.
So, gosh, this feels like another thing. It could be another poll.
I mean, it
there are lots of
definitely,
options.
it definitely could be, and there are indeed a lot of options. And I would be down for earmarking this for a future poll as we start
Sure.
playing with relative clauses and questions. And I say that because part of how we want to do this will end up affecting, if you want to say, like, the tree that I saw yesterday and that my neighbor cut down is gone. I don't know. I didn't know how to finish that, but where you can join other clause types, not just main clauses. And so our decision in one area would end up influencing and affecting other areas that we haven't yet explored. And so, there's only 7 minutes of the stream left anyway.
Yeah.
And so I think we could actually, since we're doing the poll on the sound changes, next week start with the results of that poll. And then from there, we can move into relative clauses or questions, whichever you're feeling most, like another clause structure. And we can already earmark our poll for next week will be clausal coordination. And that gives me more time to potentially come up with some more options that we could explore and toss out there.
Yeah, we've got these, which are two easy options. One where we do nothing, and the other where we use GA, or nominal coordination strategy.
Yeah.
And so then we can just think about others. We can think about one for right now if for the next 6 minutes, or we can put it off. Come back to derivation. Remember, we were thinking about mud and mortar.
We do, and I think it would be interesting. We don't have any sort of...
Where's modifiers come? Modifiers come second, right?
While you're looking that up, I actually... Have we built any pieces? Okay. I don't think we've used it yet. I've got an idea for a tool derivation.
Okay. Give me just a second. Like, it was. Boy, we got a lot of stuff there. Yeah, no, I understand. Okay, so go ahead. Your idea.
Is that it comes from because they use their tail so much. That is the beginning of tools for them. To like pat it down, and then eventually they make little hammers and things, but that's just a hand tail right there. And then, so tail could end up being a derivation attaching to nouns to specifically a beaver tail, not, we have two words, one that means a beaver tail and one that means just a tail of any animal that's, they would view as slightly useless. But the very useful beaver tail, I think, could potentially be the source of prefix. What order
Prefix.
did you say?
It would have to be a prefix, yeah.
And so, yeah. Mateus, I had never really gone deep into relative clauses until I was working on the chapter for my textbook. And as I was laying out options and really researching how structurally relative clauses can work, I think that was the first time I then laid out a really fun brainstorming session for myself for Joadi and how relative clauses could work. And I was very excited about it.
Do you see what just happened? Do you see what just happened?
What is what is P in a circle? Like, what is that even?
I don't know.
Well, you need to, okay, as soon as the stream ends, we're getting into your preferences and changing.
Maybe it's just, instead of copyright, it's P right.
Oh my goodness gracious. Maybe it is. Okay, so I'm going to look up really quick. What does a P in a circle mean? Oh, the P in the circle is used for sound recordings. It's a protected copyright for sounds, for like songs and stuff.
Huh.
Standard copyright is the C. Oh, yeah, Patrick and Logan, you also put it there in chat, which of course chat is slower from our live end, so I did not see that until after I Googled it.
The P is for phonograph. Oh, that's nice. It's not thoughtful. All right, so let's go ahead and create this word. Mud was ga.
And so this will end up being, ooh, let me look at the chart, Flaga. Oh, that'll be nice. And this is specifically going to be like mortar, right?
Yeah, mortar, glue. I also thought of just using a word for like stuff, but I like this better. Yeah, mortar, glue. I don't know what else. That's good.
I am suddenly having that feeling that I don't know. Wow. Okay, so these are true homonyms. And by that I mean they have different etymologies.
Talking about mortar the glue and mortar the weapon?
No, those come from the same, the weapon is from the same source of the thing I was thinking of, which is the mortar and pestle, like the cup. So the weapon and the cup-shaped receptacle that you use to like grind spices is mortar, versus mortar, the gluey stuff. And as I was typing it, I was like, this can't be the word for glue. Isn't this the word for the thing you use to crush spices? And so anyway, I looked it up because I was just having that moment.
Cis Languages says, I haven't created a word for mortar since I stopped translating the Tower of Babel. And that, of course, is why like all conlangs from the 90s and 2000s had words for mortar.
Wow. Yeah, this is great because the one I was thinking of, the little cup that you use for grinding, was borrowed in Old English period from French. The same word was later re-borrowed into Middle English, also from French, but it was borrowed at a later date, and that is the binding mortar. That is amazing. Okay, there we have it. Oh, Matei says that he used to do the opening of Genesis, and so got void a whole lot in early languages. That's amazing. All right. So, David,
Yeah.
we are good. We are ahead. We know what poll we're doing this week. You've already got strategies. We know what poll we're doing for next week. And I have a note to start brainstorming. those
Bibleridian.
puzzle.
What'd you use it for? As he used mortar as a lexical source for derivational affix. We just used something similar for a coordinator. Now I'm curious what our CEO and governor did.
I think you pronounce it govna.
Governor.
I nailed it.
Oh
I know.
man, he became a governor. Call him Governoridian. You know.
Governoridian.
Yeah. You could
Done.
ask questions. In a great big what do you call that, press conference? Governoridian, we have a question.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Or, sorry, it may also be Govneridon
Governoridian.
for David's early misreading of Bibleridian. All right. Well, thank you all for being here. Let's read what Bibleridian responded. He used it as an abstract nominal ending that in some contexts can also mean the substance from which something is made.
Mm-hmm.
That is good. That is good. I love that.
It's also a kind way of reading that aloud.
And I will say now as we end, everyone, may you all go forth in grammar and have a wonderful week. And we look forward to seeing you here next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.